How to Get Rich, an executive summary of the best financial ideas from Robert Kiyosaki's #1 best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki had two dads, a rich dad and a poor dad. His poor dad was his biological father. His poor dad was an academic who studied at Stanford, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern, earning a PhD, teaching in Hawaii, and working for the Department of Education. He followed the old idea of go to school, get a good job, and save what is left over. Unfortunately, he never had anything left over. Poor Dad had a high salary but was never able to build wealth. When he died, he left behind bills. Poor Dad is a perfect example of a highly educated person with zero financial intelligence. Kiyosaki's adopted rich dad was the father of a childhood friend who never finished the 8th grade. Rich Dad owned and ran several businesses. When he died, he left millions of dollars to his family, charity, and church. As a very young kid, Kiyosaki asked his rich dad to teach him how to make money. This book and Kiyosaki's life are a result of the financial wisdom of the rich dad. Sadly, how to properly use money is not taught in schools. Schools usually teach you what the poor dad thinks. Now students, study hard so you can get a good job, have a good salary, and you can spend all of the money that you make. And so we do what our teachers tell us, and after a few years we graduate and we say, "Yay, I studied hard. I will get a good job, a good salary, and I'm going to spend everything I make." I took economics courses and advanced math at Harvard and learned how to do complex analysis and projections. Yet I learned more practical wisdom in the first hour of reading Kiyosaki than a semester at graduate school. Even the best schools are designed to produce good employees, not rich people. Money without financial intelligence will soon be gone. Examples are lottery winners and million-dollar sports stars who a few years later are bankrupt. Do you remember that awesome sports star? You know, the immoral guy with the amazing hair, tattoos, and a terrible attitude who throws that funny-shaped ball really well? What a role model. Wow. He had a salary of $2 million a year, so he spent all $2 million a year. He bought Lamborghinis, rented a villa, partied hard, and was extra generous with his so-called friends and family. He got injured last year and lost his salary. He is now bankrupt. This guy had no financial intelligence, and for the rest of his life, he is going to think of his Lamborghini as he walks to work to flip burgers. Rich people acquire assets, poor people acquire liabilities. Assets appreciate over time and put money in your pocket. Assets include real estate, apartment buildings, storage units, businesses, and investments in stocks, bonds, and funds. Poor people buy liabilities. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Liabilities include rental contracts, leasing cars, $1,000 cell phones, and awesome televisions. This is the strongest and most important idea of the book. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Most people work hard for three entities. Number one, their employer. They earn a salary, but the owner gets rich. Number two, the government. Everyone pays taxes. And number three, the bank, because they pay their mortgage or they pay off other debts. Let's use Rusty as an example. Rusty is a homeowner who works at a gym which charges $50 an hour for a physical trainer. As a physical trainer, Rusty earns $25 an hour, and the owner of the business pockets the other $25 an hour. Rusty pays his taxes. He also pays a bank $1,000 a month for his mortgage, only $700 of which is principal, the rest is interest. If Rusty would have his own company with permission to work at the gym, then he would create value by only charging $40 an hour. He would still pay taxes, but he would write off all of his expenses. He would still be paying his mortgage, but paying the bank and having small taxes is way better than paying your employer, the bank, and paying full taxes. This is why owning a business is such a good idea, which leads us to our next idea. Mind your own business. Mind your own business means that you should pay attention to your own business. You might have a profession, but you must also have a business and use this business to buy assets and build wealth. Let's use the poor dad as an example. He's a teacher, so his occupation is teaching. What Kiyosaki would recommend is that he also becomes a real estate investor. With his spare time and spare money, he could start a business, buy a duplex, and rent it out to university students. He could still teach, but in his spare time, he could mind his own business and build wealth. Selling is essential. I love to barbecue. I make delicious cheeseburgers, yummy. But if I tried to sell that cheeseburger to hundreds of people every day, I wouldn't know where to begin. Everyone in the world can make a better cheeseburger than McDonald's, but McDonald's is the best in the world at selling and delivering burgers. That's billions with a B. Maybe selling is important after all. The book gives a great example of a talented journalist with a master's in English who is an excellent writer and who wants to be a best-selling author. She asked Kiyosaki for advice. He says she should go to a marketing course to learn how to sell her writings. She gets mad and walks out saying, I have a master's degree in English. Why would I go to school to learn how to be a salesperson? I hate salespeople. All they want is money. Kiyosaki shows her the top of his book and points out that it says bestseller, not best writer. You must not be afraid to sell yourself and your products. Number 7, groom yourself for your future by seeking employment where you can learn. Kiyosaki tells us of his employment history where he chose jobs that would teach him important skills he wanted to learn. He graduated from the Merchant Marine Academy, where he got an education. He worked for Standard Oil of California, where he learned the shipping industry. He joined the Marine Corps, where he learned how to be a leader and how to fly. Then he worked for Xerox, where he learned how to sell, and now he works for himself. Number 8, fear inspires winners, but fear defeats losers. As a Green Beret, there have been many times in my life when I thought, wow, I'm going to die right now. My tolerance for fear was pretty big, so I thought. It wasn't until I retired from the military and I had to face a different kind of fear by starting a business and working for myself. I had always wanted to do it while on active duty, but I kept procrastinating. I was too afraid to put in the time and effort. I was too afraid to learn all of the legal filing requirements and tax rules, and I was too afraid to take that first step. But I overcame my fear, and so can you. Number 9, master one formula to build wealth and then master another. A formula is nothing more than one type of wealth building. For example, buying and selling foreclosed houses is one formula to build wealth. After you have done this a few times, you become an expert. But after you do it exceptionally well a few times, you become a master. Once you have mastered this formula, you can learn how to master another formula, for example, how to buy and sell stocks. And number 10, the poor and middle class work for money, while the rich have money work for them. Most people work for a certain wage earned each hour, each week, or month. They work for their money. The rich buy assets which appreciate with time. Here is a partial list of assets that the rich buy. The assets which the rich have purchased make them even more money, so in a sense their money works for them. Okay, so there you have it. An executive summary of the best financial ideas from Robert Kiyosaki's #1 best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I hope you learned something new and are now more capable of making good financial decisions. Thanks for learning. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep on learning, and please share this video with a friend who needs to know this.